Welcome to Weird Shit
Weird,
Wednesday.
Weird Shit Wednesday.
Woo! I'm Kelly,
I'm Carson.
and we're doing this thing a little differently today because my behind got sick. So we're remote, but so if you hear any weird sounds, or if you're wondering why our audio sounds different, that's why.
Hmm.
Because I'm using whatever microphone is existing in this webcam on
I've
my
got
rack.
and I've got my husband's sound mic from his PlayStation.
Yeah, I think yours sounds pretty good. Mine, we'll see how it goes, but
Yeah, we
I
shall
can
see.
play around with it and figure it out.
Yeah. I
Alrighty.
apologize in advance if there's any random thumps or bumps in the background. My husband's doing some housework right now. He's putting up those window cling things. So
Nice.
that's why.
Oh,
But I told him to keep it
important,
down.
important tasks. Important tasks. So last episode, we pulled the lovers as our tarot topic. So I think we agreed that at least one of our stories would relate to that. But
Hmm.
because we're recording this on the winter solstice, tonight is
Hmm.
the winter solstice, and this episode will release on Christmas Day. So we
Yep.
figured we could get a little bit of
Get a
wiggle room and
little holly
make
jolly.
it a little more winter holiday themed.
Yes. Some point.
All right, take it away.
Okay, well, since we're home and we're doing this here, I'm going to have the opportunity to show Mr. Tio.
Oh, hello, Tio buddy. I got mine's buried under a blanket under the computer somewhere.
Yes,
So
so I have Mr. Theodore here, and anyone else that knows me, I am a crazy cat lady. So I find it very, very fitting that my creature feature is a kitty.
I think I know where you're going with this. And actually, I just saw a TikTok about this topic that I was going to send to you and I forgot.
Yes, yes. So it's super, super fitting that it's cats, it's holiday themed, so it's perfect. And
Beautiful.
this
I'll get my
creature
tea and I
is,
will cozy in.
yes, all nice and cozy. So this creature is an Icelandic legend that may be over 1,000 years old and is
Damn.
known as the Yule cat.
I love it.
I'm going to try and pronounce the Icelandic pronunciation, but I'm likely going to
Yeah,
butcher
good
it.
luck.
So here we go. So the Yola Hectrin. That's the best. I'm gonna give
So
it a
that sounds
go.
pretty good. That's
I
not
was
bad.
close. I was close. I was watching videos and I typed out the pronunciation, but also I get a pass because I'm deaf and I have a speech impediment. So
Well, and it's also Icelandic, and I feel like that's not an easy language to pronounce
that
no
is
matter
not.
what.
It is not an easy language. Either way, it is said the Yule cat is said to be the pet of another Icelandic cryptid. So we got kind of like a two for one
We got a twofer. All
here,
right, I like
known
it.
as
Well, we did do
uh,
the lovers, so a twofer is
mhm.
appropriate.
So the Yule cat is known to be the pet of Grilla and her children, the Yule lads. So they're another
Oh, I've heard of
cryptic
them.
and
Yep,
and the
yep.
holiday story. I have a great article from the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, which gives a lot of really fun details about this festive feline.
Love
And
it.
it was a cool website that they take and rescue like wildlife, specifically like big cats and things. So it's a super cool organization. So check that out if
Cool.
you want to. So the Yule cat is described as being a huge, typically larger than a building, with dark fur and sharp whiskers. It is also known to have glowing eyes, which can be blue, red, or yellow. The Yule cat usually resembles a Norwegian forest cat, which is a breed of domesticated house cat with a long, woolly coat, perfect for chilly temperatures. So funny.
So
We
Theo.
originally thought, yeah, literally, we originally thought that Theo was a Norwegian forest cat when he was starting to grow because he's just
He's so
massive.
fluffy and so
He's
big.
so big.
He's
He's
like a
not
big boy.
he's not a Norwegian forest cat. We are pretty sure he is
Pure.
ragamuffin, which is a mix of ragdoll and Maine Coons. So
Yeah, I
still,
can see
still
that of
big.
him.
It's in the face.
He's so cute.
He's a cutie little boy. The Yule cat appears to have some style, as it also is shown to be wearing a red collar with a large bell. The cat's personality can range from simply unruly to truly evil. Some stories, the cat stays by Grilla's side, and other stories, it's the companion of Stuffer, the youngest of the Yule lads. There's not many stories revolving around the Yule cat. However, most of them always involve activities around Christmas. What they're doing the other 365 days of the year or 364 days of the year, who knows? Probably sleeping in a sunny spot or looking for food, asking for food, going meow.
Begging.
Begging. My boys are beggars. Literally 5 minutes past their food time and they are yelling.
Oh yeah, I made sure to feed Thomas before this because the reason I had to go to the store was to get cat food. And I was like, if I don't feed him beforehand, he's not going to leave us alone. So he's over there crunching away somewhere.
That's funny. Yeah, so the Yule cat has some peculiar behaviors around Christmas. It is said to look in the windows of each and every house it passes on Christmas night. It looks through the presents that the children have received. If they have received new clothes, specifically socks, the cat will move on. However, if the children did not work hard enough to receive a pair of socks, the Yule cat will eat the children.
Oh no!
Children of wealthier families were encouraged.
Not a great way to go.
I know, right? It's like, you didn't work hard. You don't get any socks. Well, now you're going to get eaten.
It's like double punishment, man.
Little bit. You don't get socks and you get eaten.
Come on, man. Unpleasant.
Yeah. Children of wealthier families were encouraged to donate extra pairs of socks to less fortunate families so as to provide protection against the Yule cat.
Well, that's very thoughtful.
So, yeah. It seems that the legend of the Yule cat began spreading as a way to encourage farmers to finish their work in a timely manner, so there was enough wool, leather, and other supplies to make clothing for everyone. However, clever parents thought that this could be a way to convince their children to do their chores and to ensure that they get a pair of socks on Christmas morning. So kind of like the, you better watch out, like goading children to have good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you better behave so you get
come
new
into
socks.
play in mine a little bit too.
Better do your chores so we have enough to get you new socks.
Yeah.
The legend of the Yule cat has been used to promote hard work, timeliness, and good fortune amongst the children of Iceland. There's so where specifically the Yule cat comes from is kind of up for debate. There's lots of different connections, like I mentioned, she's tied to Grilla and the Yule lad. So there's like, they think the Yule cat might have appeared when these characters appeared, but also like the Yule cat might have had its own origins and then found them. But there's lots of fun stories and lore behind it. The one that's listed on the Turpentine's website was the first is that the legend came from a figure of speech that roughly translates to dress the cat, as was misinterpreted to be a monster by later authors. Another is that the Yule cat was a traditional follower of St. Nicholas, who we call Santa Claus. Yet another is that the Yule cat dates back to traditional Christmas celebrations where performers would dress up as animals and dance. No matter its origins, though, the Yule cat became a staple of traditional Icelandic Christmas celebrations, including in the 1970s, or a song was developed based on the poems of Johann Koltum. So this poem that Johann wrote was basically translated into a song. And this is completely about the Yule cat, about how it like watches in the windows, like describes like its teeth and like.
Oh, I love that. I will have to try and find a version of it to put on our Instagram.
It's super cool. I have links to to where the poem is so you can read it and to go listen to the song. It's a little long, otherwise I'd read it here, but it has like, it gives scary stories in the dark vibes.
Yeah, and I love those. Those were so good.
So the song became popular across the country in 1987, and with it, the Yule cat gained some more popularity. Many Icelandic homes were decorated with cat-themed items around the holidays in the spirit of the Yule cat. The capital city of Reykjavik even constructed a 16-foot tall tower of the Yule cat to place in their city square in 2018.
cute.
So it's on my bucket list now to go see that thing. It's this giant like wire structure, and then it's like has Christmas lights like all weaved through it. It's like it's a little creepy if you're coming at it from a distance because it has like the red eyes, but also the pictures I saw from it in the daytime. It's so cute. I need to go see this. Yeah. So that is the Yule Cat, the festive holiday kitty. So make sure you do your chores, ladies and gents, so you get a new pair of socks so he don't eat you.
All right. Well, mine is not as cute and cuddly. But very similar holiday vibes. And also there's a poem that I am going to read to you because it's a little long, but it's not horrible.
Cool.
So my creature feature is belsnickle. And the reason I chose him is literally this first line. So I was looking up like non-traditional like Christmas figures or like creepy Christmas figures. And the first line of belsnickle is a crotchety, fur-clad Christmas gift-bringing figure in the folklore of the Palatinate region of Southwest Germany. I'm like, that's just the best description ever.
This gives Grinch vibes.
It gives me Grinch vibes. I'm feeling a little Grinchy this year anyway. It's not been a great year. It's not been a great Christmas season. So I was like, this is my dude. This is my dude. So,
valid.
Belsnickle. Belsnickle is related to other companions of St. Nicholas in the folklore of German-speaking Europe. He might have been based on an older German myth called, I'm going to try the German. Again, I don't speak German, but I think it's Knecht Ruprecht, a servant of St. Nicholas and a character from northern Germany. But unlike those figures, belsnickle does not accompany St. Nicholas, but visits alone and combines both threatening and the benign aspects, which in other traditions are divided between St. Nicholas and his companion figures. So the name belsnickle itself is a combination of the German words bells, which means fur, and nickel for St. Nicholas. So he's like the fur Santa Claus.
Okay.
He's often depicted as a man wearing furs and sometimes a mask with a long tongue. He is typically very ragged and disheveled, wearing torn, tattered, and dirty clothing, and carries a switch in his hand to beat the naughty children.
Oh, no.
He also carries pockets full of cakes, candies, and nuts for good children. Upon his arrival, well, you better be on the good list. Obviously.
I'm getting like Criminal Minds or Law and Order SVU vibes from this a little bit.
Yeah.
This would definitely be a holiday episode for them.
Yeah, I could see it. Some guy walking around with a switch beating on children.
We're like, hey! Oh,
no. Upon his arrival, children are called upon to answer to him or sing him a song. In exchange, he'll throw cakes, candies, and nuts onto the floor. If the children dive greedily for the treats or can't recount their good behavior throughout the year, belsnickle will threaten to swat their hands or back with his switch. The well-behaved boys and girls will be rewarded with the treats.
Okay.
So, don't be greedy. Belsnickle visits to remind children that they still have time to stay out of mischief before Christmas Day and to think twice before misbehaving. For those who dare to meet the belsnickle, you can plan a visit to Pennsylvania, Americana region during the holiday season. So this tradition got brought over from Germany with immigrants and has become very popular, specifically in Pennsylvania. And they have a belsnickle festival every year there, where you can go in and tell belsnickle how well behaved you've been for the year and get treats. Or don't and see what happens.
Interesting.
Each year in early December, the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center, that is a long name for a community center, holds Christmas on the farm in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. And the event celebrates the Dutch Christmas traditions of the area. And belsnickle always makes an appearance. The Christmas toast, this Christmas toast, they will toast the legendary character with the belsnickle dark lager. So he has his own lager that they create in honor of him.
All right, he's got his own signature
beer.
Let's go.
It's a locally brewed beer. And there's a picture of belsnickle on the bottle's label, and it is made with cinnamon and ginger extracts to add a festive taste. The belsnickle has made his way into pop culture, specifically the TV show The Office, because in one of the episodes in season 9, Dwight,
of course, it's Dwight,
up as belsnickle for the Office holiday party.
I very vaguely remember this. Like, I was an avid Office watcher. So I'm like, yep, that sounds like some Dwight shit.
It does sound like some Dwight shit, and I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, yeah, there we go. And his exact words are, "Some people were born to be bad. I was born to be belsnickle." And then he goes on to judge his coworkers' behaviors over the past year.
Love it.
Yeah. Similar to yours, there's also a poem about belsnickle called "Christmas Time in the Land of Belsnickle" by Matthew Burns. And I did print it off. It's somewhat long, but not horrible. I probably won't read the whole thing because, again, it kind of gets long. But the beginning of it is, "There is a land of wilderness glades and craggy cliffs, of hidden coves and ancient forests, home of the belsnickle. Among the dark forest, under the roots of great oak tree, there is a limestone cavern that is completely hidden from view. In this dank cavern, belsnickle makes his home. He is hairy and covered in animal pelts, with moss in his hair and lichens on his skin. He lives in the cave with his loyal servant, Rupert."
Rupert!
Yep. So it goes on to describe him plotting mischief and mayhem, wreaking havoc, feeding wild onions to the dairy cows. There's just lots of fun stuff. But in the end, they say you can love him or hate him. Belsnickle's a popular Christmas legend who is feared and loved at the same time, created to wreak havoc during the festive season. And though there are many children who still believe in him and in the fury of the belsnickle in certain parts of Europe, this Christmas, just make sure to promise to be good, because you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. If you hear a tapping at your home door this holiday season, beware. It may be belsnickle coming to check in on you. I just have this vision of this crotchety old man in dirty clothes, dirty fur coat, just switching his candies and being like, "Get off my lawn!
Get off my lawn!" And then throwing those really
crabby grandpa
weird,
vibes.
Really, really old, hardened caramels that have lost all taste.
Yes, or the little strawberry candies.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And,
he gave me a little bit of Grinch vibes, and I'm here for it.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, don't cross belsnickle.
Don't make him mad. Well, or just make sure you tell him how well behaved you've been.
I was good this year, I promise.
At least he doesn't eat people. Like Fair. Krampus. Krampus will kidnap you and beat you in the street.
Yeah.
So he's a little gentler.
Yeah, a little.
Less scary. Not creeping down chickens and eating people.
You might get beaten, but at least you probably get away with your life.
He's just gonna smack your hands with this
little
switch,
Just a quick little bop.
Nothing. Just a little tap tap.
Oh, naughty. Oh,
naughty. Shall we what in the world it?
Yeah.
All right, who should go first?
You go first.
I'll go first. All right. Well, my what in the world actually ties in really well to your creature feature.
Cool.
Because I am going to talk about Yule. And the celebration of Yule. Because it actually began last night. Was the first night of Yule. And it is centered mostly around tonight, which is the winter solstice. I figured it's appropriate timing.
Mm-hmm.
My original plan was to have some Yule festivities ready for us to do together, but influenza's a bitch, so
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we can celebrate a little Yule. I was going to make some Yule beverages and treats that are traditional for the celebration. So maybe we'll do those on New Year's instead, because
Cool.
Yule ends on New Year's Day.
Ah,
So.
nice.
All right. If you don't know what Yule is, every year in the holiday season rolls around, and at least once you'll spy that classic video playing on some TV somewhere of a log in a fireplace crackling peacefully as it burns. But do you know where the tradition came from?
I don't.
I didn't either until now. Yule is actually one of the oldest winter solstice festivals, with origins among the ancient Norse thousands of years ago. Its roots are complicated and difficult to trace, although there are several theories about how and why the festival is celebrated. It is generally agreed that Yule celebrations began as a Norse festival called Jul,
Mm-hmm.
which means joy. Like most winter solstice festivals, themes of light, fire, and feasting are common threads. One of the earliest known references to Yule is from an English monk and historian called Bede or Bede. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that name. Who wrote in the early 8th century about the Yule, a period in the old pagan calendar used by Germanic groups such as the Norse and Anglo-Saxons. Yule was a 2-month span that marked the time when sunlight began to increase again in the winter solstice, and it was not a festival per se, but a marking of the passage of time. Yule then became a name for Christmas at about the 9th century, and in many languages, Yule and its cognates are still used to describe that holiday. In modern times, Yule as a solstice celebration is observed mostly by neo-pagans, both as individuals and as groups. For Wiccans, Yule is the second Sabbath of the wheel of the year, marked with rituals to welcome the return of the sun. Some mark the holiday with reenactments of the battle between the Holly King, representing darkness, and the Oak King, representing light of Celtic legend. Fruit fly.
Oh,
Fly
cool.
up my nose.
Cool tie with the Oak King. Actually, complete opposite of after winter is like when summer returns.
Yeah.
There's the Beltane festival.
Yes.
And in Scotland every year they do like a big festival for Beltane where
Cool.
it's like the Oak King passing time over to the spring, or like the Spring Queen passing it over to the Oak King. It's super cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that'll be another topic for another day. But when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh, I know this one.
Yes, it ties in together. I love that. So, some endeavor to recreate traditions of the ancient Norse by burning Yule logs or with feasts. Some simply stay awake until dawn to observe the cycles of nature. The traditional holiday season can be hectic and stressful. Yule is a good time to set intentions that can align with peace, love, harmony, and increased happiness. Taking time to celebrate Yule in simple ways, such as a family meal, a walk in the woods, or just sharing what you are thankful for with your family and friends. And then I went ahead and I researched kind of some of the symbolism of Yule and some of the ways to celebrate the different traditions. So the symbols of Yule, the colors that symbolize Yule are green, gold, silver, and red. Mm-hmm. The foods that are most associated are cookies, caraway, dried fruits and nuts, anything with pork in it, eggnog, ginger tea, spiced ciders, and wassail, which is what I was going to make for us. I was going to make homemade wassail. Stones that are associated are ruby, garnet, bloodstone, emerald, and diamond. Herbs are bayberry, evergreen, frankincense, holly, laurel, pine, and sage. The flowers that are associated with Yule are calendula, sunflowers, wild ginseng, and wormwood. And the deities that are often honored during Yule are Ishtar, the horned god, Orsis, Loki, Persephone, Cernunnos, and Dionysus. And a lot of these have to do with kind of the idea of like, basically the whole concept is that being with winter solstice being the longest night of the year, you're saying goodbye to the darkness and welcoming the sun of the new year coming in and all that. And oftentimes I've seen a lot as I was reaching this of like, so there are 13 nights of Yule and or 12 nights of Yule, 12 nights of Yule. And it begins on the first night, and each day has a different representation of like what it's meant to honor. For example, last night was Mother's Night. So you would light a candle and celebrate like the feminine ancestral lineage of your family. So whether that's like having dinner with your mom or honoring a family tradition that was started by a female family member, or sharing memories of like grandmothers and great grandmothers and aunts and mothers in your family. So that's how Yule starts. And then tonight is the winter solstice, which you will honor the coming of the new year. And a lot of people I can't remember the name of it right now. I saw it on one of the websites I was researching on, but we'll write down 13 wishes for the year, and they will burn one each day with intention. And then whatever one is left on New Year's Eve is the one that you are meant to focus on for the year.
Okay, so like pick like randomly?
Yeah, so you'll write them all down on a piece of paper, like fold them up so you don't know which one's which, and each day you just randomly pick one out and burn it. And that's meant for the universe is meant to take that off your hands. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to fight for it. But whatever one is left on New Year's Eve, yours your final, like that's your focus for the year and what the universe wants you to focus on.
Kind of like you're setting your intentions for the new year.
So you're setting your intentions. And there's like there's days to honor like nature, and there's a day to honor like lost loved ones, and like you can build an altar for them and share their favorite foods, and like there's some really cool like Yule celebrations.
That's sweet.
A lot of people often do decorate a Yule tree, which a lot of people believe is where our tradition of Christmas trees came from. Except for that, so they would decorate an outdoor evergreen, but it would be decorated with fruits and seeds, specifically dried citrus fruits. Like oranges.
So that's where that comes from. Because I've seen that where you say like oranges and you like slice them up and then
and they dry them like, and then make like a garland.
Dry, like put some like spices on or even like bake it so it's like hardened. Oh,
so that came from that. Also, if you've ever seen like the cranberry and popcorn garlands, that also started from Yule as well. Because dried cranberries are one of the things that you can utilize to decorate a Yule tree.
That makes sense.
So a lot of our modern day Christmas traditions came from Yule and like this celebration.
My assumption for like the popcorn and cranberry like garlands was always that they're just like a cheap substitute for decorations, because like I figured like maybe like like maybe poorer families couldn't like afford like the big baubles and things like that, so they used what they could, which was like probably popcorn seeds and fruits and things like that. But that's so cool. I didn't know it had that other tie.
Cranberries are a big part of Yule celebrations, and seeds are something you can decorate, and popcorn is a seed. It was just popped, so it's easier to string. Kitty Snuggles, get him.
Yeah, Theodore's being curious about the computer, so I'm stopping him from biting it.
But yeah, so and then a lot of people also do like they mentioned the Yule log, where you will prepare. People do it different ways. Some people just burn an evergreen log in honor of the winter solstice. Some people will drill holes into it and put candles into it, decorate them with cinnamon sticks and dried fruits and all that good stuff. But you can also create an altar, hang evergreen wreaths, hang mistletoe, go on a walk in the winter to honor nature. But everything is just kind of focused on the idea of like welcoming the new year and the sun returning after its long night and bringing new life and new energy and shedding. One of the things I even saw said that you can even just take like a shower as like an intentional shower where you're washing away winter and you're washing away the kind of the decay of the past year.
Yeah.
And starting fresh for the new one.
I like that. It's
like, yeah, that's a really cool celebration. And so I'm personally excited to add a few Yule tide celebrations into my practices during the holiday season. But yeah, I think it'd be really fun to kind of celebrate.
Neat. I like it. It sounds like it's really based around just reflection, setting intentions, and then looking forward.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Cool.
So yeah, there's Yule.
Right. Well, for my what in the world, it is not holiday themed at all. I'm leaning really into our lovers theme with our tarot card.
Ooh.
And initially when we had lovers pop up, I thought of the tune from Fiddler on the Roof. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match.
Yes.
Find me a find. Catch
it's a classic.
Me
a classic.
Yes, very much so. So I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. So matchmaking, and like along the line of that, there's so many different ways that people find love these days, like going out to a bar, dating apps, or even being high school sweethearts like me and Kane.
Aww.
Like that. So I thought it'd be fun to research and find different dating and courting rituals from around the world.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Yeah. So I found 4 that I thought were super, super interesting, and they're all from either different points in history, in different countries. We're going across time and space today.
I love it.
Yeah. So first one is not gonna lie, kind of making me gag a little bit, like thinking about it. And it's funny that you mentioned that apples were the only thing you could really be eating the last couple of days.
Apples for me.
Because back in the late 1800s, I found a peculiar dating ritual from Austria where men would eat the armpit apples of the ladies they were interested in to show that, yes, I would like to court you.
Ew. Like apples from their armpits?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we shoving apples in our armpits? I don't.
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Oh, please do. I'm very confuzzled.
Yeah. So from what I had found, Austrian women, like they would have like these back in the day, they'd have like those big like balls and like formal gatherings, things like that, where it's meant to like just mingle. This is where a lot of ladies would go to show that, hey, I'm available.
I'm single and ready to mingle.
I'm single and ready to mingle. And they would put apple cores or apple slices underneath their armpits at the beginning of the dance.
Huh.
And
I guess maybe like deodorant?
That's what I initially thought. Like maybe it is like
they smell nice.
Maybe they smell nice. Like maybe because like you're dancing the night away, you work up a sweat and all that. But anyway, they are.
I mean, to keep them like
like
what's a lot of effort.
So either they're like walking like this all night like little penguins, or maybe they had like special pouches in their dresses. So like maybe they had like a little sling that they slid the apple slice.
An apple apparatus.
Apple apparatus.
An apparatus, if you will.
Armpit apparatus.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. Well, I'm glad we've moved on from apple armpit things.
Same. So these apple slices, the ladies would put it in there at the start of the dance, and it would stay there throughout the evening. They're dancing that the way. They're flirting. They're chatting. They're talking. And at the end of the night, one lucky gentleman would get the chance to eat this forbidden fruit. If the lady came and presented this apple slice to the man she most desired, if he felt the same way, he would eat the apple to show that he was interested and committed to courting her.
That's commitment.
That is commitment. That is commitment to the bit.
You know? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
There's
Thankfully.
not a human being in this world I like enough
Mm-mm.
to eat an apple out of their armpit.
Nope. Nope.
Hell
Nope.
no.
Nope. 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 Heck no.
And
Thankfully,
with
this
all those heavy
gag-worthy.
fabrics, you know they were sweaty.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
And
And
they
some of the.
didn't bathe much back then. That was a
Oh.
ripe apple.
Ooh. And I just had a second thought. That time period was like a lot when that green fabric was coming out popular, and it was laced with arsenic because that's what they used to make some of the dyes.
Yes.
So, imagine having the green dress with the apple. Ooh, with some arsenic gets in there. Ooh.
Yummy.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I would have
Thankfully,
stayed single.
yeah, no thanks. Thankfully, this gag-worthy dating custom only lasted through until about the start of the 19th century. And they're probably like, okay, this is kind of gross.
Like,
I don't want to eat
hygiene,
your
people.
armpit apples.
Hygiene.
Hygiene. Like,
Concept.
yeah.
Take a bath.
I guess if the guy really, really wants to get under your skirt and they're willing to do whatever they need to do, but goddamn,
That's no.
that's commitment.
That's so nasty.
No thanks. I hope they brush their teeth after that.
Did they even have toothbrushes back then?
I don't know.
Neither. You know, imagine him chomping on that apple and then, come here, honey, give me a kiss.
Oh no.
You're like, oh no.
Oh no.
He's got BO breath.
Oh.
God, I'm coughing. All right, I can't laugh. I'm going to start coughing.
That's hilarious. So that's the apple armpit tradition from Austria.
Yes.
Those men really committed to the bit. This next group, they also commit to the bit as well, but in a much more fashion. We love a good pun around here.
We do.
Thankfully, these men, though, that I'm diving into, they are more in a fashionable sense.
Fashion.
It's in a good way. Okay. So this takes us to the African country of Chad.
Oh, fun.
Where the tribe of the Wodabi. They have men and women there, but it is the men who have to dress to impress.
I like this already much better.
Yeah. Within this village or in this tribe, men of this tribe value beauty and often spend most of their days grooming, adorning themselves in order to appear attractive to the women.
As they should. Take notes.
As they should.
Take notes, gentlemen.
Take notes, guys. We notice when you take care of your
appearance. I don't want you eating no apples out of my armpit. I want you adorning.
Yes. This preening that they do takes on epic proportions, especially during their annual courtship festival called Gerwole. During this week-long festival, the men dress to the nines and enter a dancing competition called the yake. In this dance, competitors form a single line and just dance away while they're being watched by a mostly female audience. So it's like a little dance competition, ooh, who can...
I'm imagining a little Magic Mike moment here. Sorry.
Not quite that kind of dancing. But
is it Thunder from Down Under is the other one?
Oh no.
Imagine little girls with her dollar bills. Like, woo!
Oh my god! Woo! Dollar bills! Well, they're not judged by money, but they do have a judging panel, which kind of determines who's the best dressed, most stylish, who has the best dancing skills. And the judging panel is usually consistent of 3 women, and they choose the winner based on, like I said, dancing skills and overall good looks.
Good.
And it's super cool. The pictures I was seeing, they go all out.
Fancy.
Yeah, their makeup is amazing. I love their hats, which I read that they take the time to weave those themselves. So they're taking the time to put together their costumes for this festival.
I love it.
It's super cool, and their clothing is super intricate. It's very nice.
Impressive.
Yeah. So that is from Chad. Next, we're gonna go to Finland. And this one, I couldn't find an exact time period of when this would occur, but I think it's definitely a dated one, like much more dated. But the title of it caught my attention because it was Finnish girls wear empty sheaths on their hips to signal their availability. So like a sword.
Yeah.
So in Finland, an old custom had single girls walking around town with empty sheaths strapped to their sides. Fathers gave their young daughters the sheaves once they had become of age and were ready to be married. If a man wanted to woo this girl, all he had to do was buy a knife and put it in her sheath.
That sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very much so. I want
to put my knife in your sheath.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, very, very much so. There's very much an implied innuendo with this. If she returned the knife to him, she was not interested. By keeping the knife, however, you're indicating that she was willing to court and date or court and marry this suitor.
Oh, okay.
Basically saying like, you are the knife to my sheath. A little like very cool.
Viking-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I wonder if they would also judge like the niceness of the knife. Like, oh, you just went and bought like a little like knife? Yeah. Because like if someone like puts a knife in the sheath and it's like one of those little like penny pocket knives, I'd be like, no, man.
It's like, do you want the jewel encrusted dagger or the butter knife?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So it's kind of like the swipe right of the Finnish culture, except a little
stab right.
There's stab right. I'd be worried, like as he's like.
I know. I'm like, I don't know that I want some man who
just coming up with a knife
that in there. What if he misses?
Yes, exactly. Or like
a whole new custom of leg shaving.
Yes. So that's Finland. And then the last one is going to take us to China. And this one I think is my favorite. And they still practice this today, which is super cool.
I wonder if I will know this because I have a friend who is Chinese.
Very cool. It takes place in the Southwest region. It's kind of like in one area. It's not widely throughout China, but it's an annual festival known as the Sisters' Meal Festival. It's celebrated by the Miao ethnic people in the Southwest China, where eligible ladies will mingle with bachelors and then express their interest or disinterest in coded messages in bundles of rice.
Ooh.
Very cool.
That was very cool.
Yeah. A few days before the celebration, the Miao girls will collect fresh wild rice and leaves from the mountains to produce natural occurring colors in order to dye glutinous rice known as sisters' rice, which is where the festival gets its name. Sense. Yeah. The steamed rice is dyed blue, pink, yellow, and white to represent spring, autumn, summer, and winter. And then in some places, the rice is also dyed a violet blue. Along with the colorful rice, there will be some hidden items within, meaning the lucky man who receives this bundle kind of gives them a message of like, hey, I'm interested, or hey, no, I'm not. It's super cool. So like at this festival, like single men and ladies, they're chatting with each other and like talking it up. The men are trying to like woo the girls, but like, yes, I'm interested in you. And the girls will be like trying to figure out, okay, who do I have my eye on? Who do I want to? It's like sending like little secret notes in like middle school. It'd be like, do you like me? Check yes or no.
Circle one. I love that.
Yeah. So in these little bundles of rice that at the end of the festival that the ladies will hand to the men, it'll have some hidden items in it, and that will signal kind of the ladies' intent or what they would like to do moving forward. So I have some examples of what it would mean if a man were to find these items in their rice. If they were to find a Chinese tune sprout or parsley, this implies that the woman wants to get married to the man.
Cute.
If you find pepper or garlic, it's like, nope, I'm not interested. I do not want to be contacted by you. Get lost. So it's kind of like a rejection.
Sad.
And then this one's my favorite because this is the one I would definitely do. If a man finds a pine needle in their rice, it means the woman wants to be given yarn and needles.
Yep, you will be doing that. You'd have a whole basket of rice full of needles.
Exactly. Like I'm not putting parsley or garlic or any of that in there. I just want my yarn and needles,
Just
man.
give me some damn yarn and I'm happy.
Just give me my damn yarn. That's all I want. And those are our cool, funky dating rituals from around the world.
Those were pretty cool. Not the first one.
That one was gross.
But the rest were cool. Keep your
the first one
sweaty armpit apples to yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Should
we spooky some spotlights?
Yeah, let's spooky some spotlights. Spotlight on that spookiness. So,
all right.
Keeping with the holiday theme, and I found the perfect spooky story to tell.
I love it.
And I'm bringing it back to the Great Lakes, guys.
Yay!
We're going for another local legend. Oh, by the way, guys, we saw Pressy.
We saw Pressy at Bentleyville.
We saw Pressy.
Yes, I have a photo of it. I will include it in our.
It was great. For those of you that don't know, Bentleyville is this awesome lights tour thing they set up in Duluth every year. It's super big and it's free. It's awesome. They give out cocoa and popcorn and stuff. And we went a couple weeks ago, and while we were staring and looking at the big tree, we turned around and Kelly goes, "It's Pressy!"
There was like a legitimate little Pressy sea monster with a Santa hat.
I think it was meant to look like the Loch Ness Monster, but it was Pressy.
No, it's Pressy.
It's Pressy. Very cool.
The cool people know it's Pressy.
Yes. The in crowd gets it. All right. So today's story is about the Ruth Simmons, otherwise known as the Christmas tree ship.
Ooh.
This ship is steeped in tragedy and mystery,
I love
with
it already.
echoes of its fateful voyage still haunting Lake Michigan.
Ooh. Lake Michigan is creepy. Not gonna lie.
I think all the Great Lakes are creepy. Like they all got their own.
They're inherently a little bit lack of better word, a little eerie. I'm on one today. Sorry.
It's all good. I appreciate it.
I haven't had people to talk to for several days, so I'm getting it all out now.
Valid. All right. So the Christmas tree ship. This 3-masted schooner built in Milwaukee in 1868 became a beloved symbol of the holiday season, making annual journeys from Michigan's Upper Peninsula to Chicago, delivering fresh-cut pine trees to families in need. Its captain, Herman Schumann, affectionately known as Captain Santa, was renowned for his kindness and generosity, especially during the Christmas season. So this guy, he runs like a Christmas tree business, and he would like bring stuff up and down the coast of Lake Superior, and he would like sell Christmas trees like to local families and things, and he would also donate a lot of trees to families in need.
I love that.
Yeah. However, on November 23rd in 1912, the Ruth Simmons succumbed to one of the most powerful winter storms of the decade. The ship was overwhelmed by 60 to 80 miles per hour gale force winds, mountainous waves, and blinding snow. The storm, which caused widespread devastation and claimed the lives of Schumann and his crew, estimating to be between 16 and 23 men. Wow. Despite the ship's tragic end, the Ruth Simmons has since become part of Christmas lore, with local legends telling of its ghostly appearance every Christmas Eve. So it kind of gives me Edmund Fitzgerald vibes a little bit.
I can see that.
Because I don't know if they were able to locate the bodies or not, but as we all know, Lake Superior don't give up her dead, and I would assume Lake Michigan is the same.
It's not any warmer.
The vessel's final journey was marked by several ominous signs, including rats abandoning ship, an unlucky 13-man crew, and the ship's unloaded deck piled high with thousands of Christmas trees. When the ship failed to arrive in Chicago, the town was devastated, marking 1912 as the year without Christmas. As the days passed, trees from Ruth Simmons began washing ashore, some still green, others brown with age, and a note from Captain Nelson, written in a bottle, washed up in Sheboygan, confirming the ship's dire fate. So another captain on the ship had wrote "We're going down," captain, and then threw it off. So that's how they were able to confirm that yes, the ship was lost. And how sad! How sad that that's how you have to confirm yes, we're dying. At that point, I don't think they had
No, I'm sure they didn't have well, they probably had Morse code, but if they were too far out, maybe it wouldn't reach.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of tech they had. I'm that's sad. For years, the Ruth Simmons exact location remained a mystery until it was discovered in 1971, 6 miles off the coast of Two Rivers, Wisconsin. The wreck, lying 165 feet below the surface, showed signs of its tragic end, with the bow leaving a 10-foot gash in the lake bed and Christmas trees still visible in the hold. So this ship still had trees on it and inside the bow, just packaged up, ready to be delivered. Oh,
it's so sad.
Yeah. The ship's bell was reportedly heard tolling in the days after the wreck, and the ghost ship itself has been sighted on Christmas Eves, silently sailing across the waters, its lantern faintly glowing through the fog. Even in death, Captain Schuman's legacy lived on, where his wife Barbara continued the family's Christmas tree business, and visitors to her grave have reported a mysterious scent of pine linking her final resting place to the ghostly presence of the Ruth Simmons. Today, you can still visit the wreck site or for hope of a glimpse of the spectral ship during the holiday season. The spirit of the Christmas tree ship lives on, a haunting reminder of the ship's journey, the devotion of its crew, and the magical mystery surrounding its final voyage.
That's so sad.
I know. The year without Christmas.
I know. All right. Well, I did not do festive for my spooky spotlight. I tried very hard because I knew what I wanted to do, but I tried very hard to find a Christmassy one, but I couldn't. But it still ties in to our tarot card.
Very cool.
Because it has to do with duos. And it is specifically has to do with a certain form of psychoses that affects duos.
Okay.
And that is folie à deux. So, I have heard stories of folie à deux many times on different true crime podcasts. Cult Leader did an episode about one of the famous sisters of the folie à deux twins, I think they're called. But it's a really interesting occurrence. Excuse me. So folie à deux is French for madness of two. It is called a shared psychosis or a shared delusional disorder. And it is a psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of delusional belief are transmitted from one individual to another. Currently in the DSM-5, it is not included in the DSM-5. But up until the mid-90s, it was an actual psychiatric diagnosis that they utilized. Pretty
so
wild.
Nowadays it's kind of like a psychological phenomenon that's at least acknowledged by the mental health community.
Yeah, it's acknowledged, but it's often categorized under delusional disorder or other specified schizophrenia spectrum and psychotic disorders.
Okay. Okay, so it kind of falls under we don't have an exact reason.
We don't have
for this, but it's
happened
something's up here.
Time and time again. So I found a few examples, and I specifically want to talk about one example, and that is the murder of Bridget Cleary.
Okay.
So this takes place in Ireland. And Bridget Cleary was born on February 19th, 1869 in Ballyvedale, Ireland. Terrible pronunciation. I apologize. She married Michael Cleary on August 6, 1887 in the Roman Catholic Church in Drangan. And the couple had met earlier that month in Clonmel, where Michael worked as a cooper and she worked as a dressmaker's apprentice.
Okay, that's a short little engagement.
1 month, yeah. That's she should have waited a little longer, if you ask me. But we'll get to that. After the marriage, Bridget returned to live with her parents while Michael continued his work in Clonmel. Clonmel? I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. This period of living apart had let Bridget's independence flourish. She got to keep her own chickens and was selling eggs to neighbors. She got a hold of a sewing machine, which was state of the art at the time. One of the first Singer sewing machines.
Ooh, nice.
And she was often referred to as a dressmaker and milliner. Following the death of her mother, the Clearys were now responsible for her. Wrong page. For her elderly father, Patrick Boland. At his residence with a couple enabled them to secure a cottage that they had reserved for laborers. Patrick had been a laborer in his youth, which were usually the best houses in the village. However, there was no widespread interest in the house they moved into due to it being built close to the site of what I'm going to butcher this name, but Kylangrana Hill, which was believed to be a fairy ring fort. Irish folklore and traditions are rampant with stories of fair folk and claimed that fairy forts were imbued with druid magic and were entrances into other worlds. Believers in fairies did not alter them out of fear of a curse or retribution, and there are many folk tales of supernatural events or incidences at fairy forts. Bridget was reported missing in March of 1895. She had evidently been ill for several days, and her diagnosis was said to be bronchitis. More than a week into her illness, on the 13th of March, a physician visited her at home, reporting her condition as grave, and a priest was sent for to administer last rites. Several of Bridget's family and friends visited in the coming days and administered home remedies. On the 16th of March, rumors swirled that Bridget was missing, and the local police began searching for her. Witness statements were gathered in the following weeks, but Bridget's badly burned corpse was not found in a shallow grave until the 22nd of March.
Oh my God, she was burned?
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
9
Honestly,
people.
I can't think of like any worse way to go than being burned
awful.
alive.
It's really awful. 9 people were charged with her disappearance, including her husband. A coroner's inquest the next day declared a verdict of death by burning. So she officially died by being burned alive.
Ugh.
Michael's testimony claimed that the ailing Bridget was 2 inches taller and too fine to be his wife. Increasingly concerned about his wife's welfare, Michael began to look for supernatural reasons to her illness. Jack Dunny, a local storyteller and relative of Bridget's father, was well versed in fairy lore and spurred on Michael's suspicions, claiming, "It's not your wife in there." At Dunny's urging, Michael went to look for a fairy doctor for an herbal cure. That night, while other men pinned her down, Michael forced Bridget to drink the bitter concoction, screaming, "Take it, you witch, or I'll kill you." To drive the fairy out, they threw urine on her and threatened her with a hot poker, burning her forehead. Again and again, Michael questioned Bridget about whether she was actually his wife. According to the testimony of one of Bridget's cousins, she seemed wild and deranged during this time, which I'm sorry, if I've got bronchitis and you start throwing pee on me, I'm going to get a little wild and deranged.
Yes. And putting a poker on my face, yeah, I'm going to be a little pissed off. I'm going to be a little cuckoo.
I'm going to get a little wild. But by the end of the night, a calm had settled on the cottage. The following morning, Bridget dressed in her typical fashionable clothes to give her courage when she would go among the people. Later that night, relatives and neighbors returned to the Cleary home, where an argument ensued, again tinged with fairy mythology. It was clear that Michael was convinced his wife had been taken over by a fairy, a consequence of living in a house built on fairy fort. Whether he was listening to the whispers of others or of living in an alleged cursed home, or from his own beliefs, Michael convinced friends and family, including Bridget's own father, Patrick, that Bridget was a fairy. At some point, Bridget said to Michael that the only person who'd gone off with the fairies had been his mother, incensing Michael, who then tried to force feed his wife, throwing her to the ground by the kitchen fireplace and menacing her with a burning piece of wood. Bridget's chemise caught fire, and Michael then threw kerosene on her.
Oh, God.
Witnesses were unclear whether Bridget was already dead at this point, but Michael kept the other people back from helping her burning body, insisting that she was a changeling and had been for the past week. He believed by burning her body, he would get his wife back from the fairies, and waited for 3 consecutive nights at the hill for the fairies to return the true Bridget. He believed she would come galloping through the ring fort on a white horse. He'd cut her free, and they'd go home together.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah. There are like dozens of examples of folie à deux that end in murder.
Mm-hmm.
This one was just, I thought, kind of the most interesting story because he not only like convinced himself, but like her father and like all of her family members. That
just like just a shared madness.
Like a full shared madness. And this poor woman lost her life. But some of the other examples of folie à deux like they're less violent. There's these 2 sisters like I was talking about that like created their own language and only spoke to one another their entire life.
Oh yeah, like weren't they like twins and like they didn't talk to like anyone and like if they like separated them and like to have them like separate sides of like a building, they would like be sitting in the exact same position, doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
They had like no visual on each other.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then there was the other 2 twin sisters. I don't know if they were twins, but they were sisters that in Sweden where they were like found like just wandering through traffic, and they'd both literally just gone insane on the same day at the same time.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Like one of them even got like hit by like a bus or a car or something.
Yeah,
and then just popped up and then just kept running, and then the other one was like trying to find the sister, and then that one also got hit by a car.
Yep.
In the same, like almost in the exact same manner in the exact same spot.
Yes. Yeah. So there's lots of really interesting. It happens a lot of times with like lovers. Like one will. It seems to me, especially in the cases of like the more violent ones, where it maybe stems from one individual, and then the other kind of gets brought into the delusion and like buys in and. But it's a really
like they get a little bit mentally manipulated, like, oh, maybe I am going crazy, maybe what they are seeing is actually there and I'm just
I feel like when you're surrounded by it enough, you
normalize it a little bit and you get a little
normalize. Yeah,
you get a little detached from what's actually going on.
But it's a pretty interesting
that's crazy. Yeah, fairies and changelings get a little spooky because they are mischievous.
All right, we gotta do some tarot. All right, shuffle these bad boys, and then I think we'll let Mina pick.
Woo! Okay.
Mina, you want to pick up a card? Come here, pumpkin. You want to pick a card? Pick a card. Any card. Which one? Pick one. You pick one? You nose one? That one? Okay. Well, she licked this one. So that's the one we're going with. We are getting another chalice.
Okay.
The four of chalices? Yes. 4 of chalices.
Okay.
So the 4 of cups is a card read to reevaluate perspective and state of mind, to let go of self-absorption, open yourself up to new opportunities, focus on the present and future, avoid becoming a cyclone of regret, appreciate what you have, be open to new experience, embrace gratitude and motivation.
Very fitting for the new year.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Okay. I can roll with that.
Yeah, it can represent self-absorption, boredom, nostalgia, remorse, frustration, regret, missed opportunities, stagnation, apathy, or focusing on the negative.
Mm-hmm. And some inspiration.
Yeah, you can do something with that.
Very cool.
Very cool. Alrighty. And I think that's all we got.
We did it.
We did it! Our first remote recording. Hopefully it wasn't too awkward and weird.
I'd call this a success.
I would call it a success as well. Alrighty. Well, I've been Kelly.
I've been Carson.
And this has been
Weird Shit
Wednesday.